All right,
All
let's
right.
move to the next topic while we wait. Next topic is grading cards. Now, grading Pokemon cards is there's a lot of different ways to do it, a lot of different companies, and it's an important thing to know about. I know a lot of kids. I didn't even know about grading cards until like a couple of years ago. It's not something you think about as a kid, but I think more so than ever, you are thinking about that just because it's talked about so much. But grading cards, what it is, I guess for starters, is let me take this off of share. How do I cancel? Stop share. There we go.
There you go.
Hey.
So first off, grading cards is a good way to protect them. If they're in a binder or loose, that's like the safest bet. Just they're in a very hard plastic case. They're safe. Also, value, it ups the value of your card immensely. There you go. That's a PSA. That's that's
I'll one up you. Let's go. Ah. Background. Is that why you took the backgrounds down?
you failed.
Yeah, you can't do it on the green screen. It's tough.
So if you have a like say you have a $10 card, depending on what it is, if you get it graded and it gets the highest grade, which is a 10, there's ranks 1 through 10. If you get it graded a 10, the value of it skyrockets immensely depending on the rarity of it. And that is because that tells the buyer that this card is in perfect condition. So when you buy raw, you don't know if there's like a scratch on it, like maybe there's like whitening on the back, there's a dent, a ding. You don't know exactly what you're getting if you're buying online. But if you buy a graded card, the label's there, you know exactly what you're getting. And collectors want the best of the best usually. So they're going after they're buying those 10s. That's why the value is a lot more than a raw card.
And there's less of them usually when it comes to older.
That's true. So
modern Zone Beast.
That's true. So it's hard to get a PSA 10 usually. So when you have a PSA 10, it's called a pop report, a population report. So on PSA.com, they have reports showing how many PSA 10s there are of this Charizard, how many PSA 9s there are of the same Charizard. And you're usually going to see that 10, there's less of them around because they're harder to grade. So a PSA 1, or PSA 6, PSA 1 might be hard to get as well.
Yeah.
People aren't
Yeah.
people aren't putting the grading those PSA 1 cards because it's not worth it. So you'll see more 6, 7s, and 8s. Those are more common, and they'll be a lot less expensive than a 10. 10s are harder to get.
Well, people would still grade the ones because there's like a niche market for ones. They go actually for quite a bit more than like a 5 or 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know there's a market for it. I
big.
didn't know they were going up. Or
Yeah.
they were more than a 5.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know who started that trend, but they're a genius.
Yeah. The person who had all the ones.
Yeah, pretty much. Like these aren't trash. They're just totally. You can't find these ones anymore. Like,
I'm gonna share the screen again, and I'm gonna show what PSA is. Okay. PSA. Crap. This Zoom menu is like in my way. How do I move this thing? Oh, there we go. All right. So PSA. So that's what PSA logo looks like. That's the company, and then you have a PSA slab. It has the red border, white plastic. This is now PSA is commonly known as the top grading company. They are kind of like I don't know, be all in. I wouldn't say the be all end all.
The go-tos.
They're the go-to. They're the most popular.
And to highlight, especially for gaming cards, and by gaming I mean Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. For that, it's bar none been the first to do it and the leader in it for the longest.
I mean, sports cards as well.
Yeah, but Beckett as well is mainly on sports and has emerged more in gaming.
So that's Beckett right there. That's the Beckett company, and what their slab looks like is the 10. This is the 10. Now, what's interesting about Beckett is they go one level beyond 10. So PSA only goes up to 10, but Beckett goes up one level to. So what's this called? What's this called?
It's a black label.
Black label 10.
Pristine 10.
Pristine.
Yeah.
That means it's perfect. Now this is interesting. So you can have a PSA 10, and there can be something a little off. Maybe the centering is off a little bit. Maybe there's some tiny kind of problem, but it's not noticeable enough to get a 9, and it can still get a 10.
They have ranges.
So I'll
Please.
speak to that. So essentially, and this is all subject like there's all these talks about bringing in computers, or that CGC might be starting to do that or have that for nice cards. But with PSA in there, if you go to their website and read their description for what a 10 should be, the real parameters on it for centering is that the front border, which you can see, it's a little trickier on the e-reader card, but just any, I don't have a regular hollow,
Let me.
but if you just pull up the like Charizard, like base set Charizard. So the front standards can be up to an error margin of 60 to 40. And that means that left to right, or up and down, up and top and bottom of that border is off by a 10% margin on the other side. So essentially up to 60% on the right and 40% on the left. That is the edge of that. Once you go past that, it would be in the PSA 9 range. The other part of that component is that on the back of the card, the back of the card is always more lenient to any grading. So the back of the card border can be up to 70-30. That's why sometimes when I see a lot of people grading cards or looking at the backs of them, you do remember that 70-30 is a pretty big margin of ratio. So you actually can get away with a lot of backs being a bit more off center and getting that 10 still.
So I didn't know that about the back.
Yeah, 70-30 for the back, 60-40 for the front. Now, when it comes to a Beckett, I won't go too far, but just at least a Beckett 10 centering, it kind of on the front leans more to that 50 to 55 range, and it's a little stricter. That's why, just like you see this card, everything's flawless, but not that centering, there's always issues anywhere. They're just pretty strict on them. But getting to that black label is so tough because you really have to have that perfect front centering or back centering on it.
Yeah. And speaking about the black label, like you have to understand what that means, because I don't think a lot of people understand. Like when you get a PSA 10, like take the Shiny Fates Charizard, you can sell that bad boy probably like $1,500 right now. But if you send it to Beckett and actually got a 10, the last I checked, not just a 10 but a black label, that increases so much. It's about like $10,000 at the moment. So you can really see the difference in pricing, and the reason why it goes up so much is that it is so hard, so hard to get a black label. So don't think you just can send some cards that they look pretty good. It's going to be a waste of your time if you're not going to get a black label.
Yeah. So even though PSA is the gold standard of grading, a black label actually surpasses a PSA 10, which is interesting.
But the value multiplier on that is dramatic. I mean, you're talking anywhere from 4 to 10x, 4 to 10 times a 10.
That's insane.
Going in it. It depends on the card and the niche, but I've seen so many examples where it's like a 10x multiplier on it because there's so few, depending on what it is.
Cray.
Yeah.
All right, should we talk about the third grading company?
Sure.
Let's do it.
There's a lot of grading companies, but the three we're talking about are the three we recommend, right, guys?
Yeah, Dustin says getting a black label is like buying a lottery ticket and winning. Pretty much, man. Pretty much.
Any other grading company other than these three? I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, you have a few, but you want to stick to the top right now. It's beneficial. And we'll talk about the reasons why.
So CGC is the third one. Now CGC is interesting because they're a comic book grading company, and they recently just got into Pokemon cards, and they're up and coming, but they're doing really well and gaining a lot of respect and from Pokemon collectors. So yeah, they usually grade comics, and now they're into Pokemon cards.
So I'll take CGC just because I'm getting so much into it. So a lot of people, when CGC first came out, just like any company, are very skeptical, and it's a good reason to be, because when it comes to grading cards, there's two types of people that grade their cards, and the reason why. The first one is going to be the collector, the person that just wants to put their cards in a slab. They want it to look nice. They want to hold it and they want to keep it there. And then you have the investor that wants to increase the value of their card so that they can resell it one day and make some money off of it. Which both of you can even be the mixture of the two, like I am. So when a new company comes out, it's very skeptical to send your cards to them, especially like high value cards, because especially as an investor, you're not going to get the same resale value that you would as a PSA or Beckett, because we still don't know how well they're going to do. You know, I talk about this a lot of times. Like, I don't see CGC flopping. I really don't. But they still have some time to go because we need to see their grading performance,
Mm-hmm.
how well they do, how strict they are. If they're too strict, kind of like Beckett, like um, people send their cards to PSA way more than Beckett because Beckett is just harsher at grading. So if CGC turns out to be just as harsh, how harsh is it? Is it worth it? Because then I'd rather just send my cards to PSA and get a 10, where in CGC I might just get like a 9 or a 9.5. Now CGC can turn out to be a kind of like a Beckett one day, to where it's a great company, but maybe their value might go up higher, but there's still a lot of time to get to that to see how it goes. So with them, they're making all the right moves right now that I can tell. It's just going to take time for a lot of people to acknowledge them, and that's just going to come with more people sending cards to them. That's all. That's all it's going to come down to.
Yeah, the two, they just need to. I think I've heard other creators say it. They need to earn their stripes, just because I think they've been doing this for a year, maybe question. I forget how, it's not been a long time, but it's a good, just like Eli said, there's a good outlook to it. It's just what turns overall. And the one thing I'd highlight, just because the picture that's up is with no subgrades, so one thing to highlight is PSA cards. You're just getting a number. You're getting a 10, a 9. They actually have an 8.5. I think, do they have a 7.5?
I haven't seen a 7.5, but I know they have like the 9.5 and 8.5, and then you can also
There's
pay
no
$4.
there's no 9.5
Uh,
for
oh,
PSA.
oh,
I'm
oh,
talking
yeah, yeah, sorry.
PSA. Just are, so basically what CGC and Beckett do is,
There you
which
go.
you have the option for no subgrades, but you pay a little bit extra and you get the subgrades. And for me personally, I would always recommend getting the subgrades, just like you see here, because that will determine, one, if you regraded at PSA, or the higher quality of the 9.5 versus a low 9.5 with lower scores. It can change the value or the quality of the card. So that's the one big difference.
All right, so I like that. So a 9.5, you got a CGC. If you get a 9.5, that you're thinking, maybe if I break this slab and resend it to PSA, not CGC, send it to PSA, I might get a 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're showing that they're being quite hard to grade right now. So their 9.5s are looking like PSA 10s at the moment.
Yeah. At least the Beckett comparison is that if you have 9.5, like let's just say you have a straight 9.5, 9.5s in all four, that's right on that border range of a 10, where if you sent that to PSA, you're right on that. You could easily get a 10, but could also get a 9. So it's just right on that borderline of a 10.
And why you would want to break a slab that's 9.5 CGC and get a 10 for PSA is they've been around longer and they're more respected. People are willing to pay more for a PSA 10 since they're known more.
Yeah, so like for example, like on the screen we have this Lugia first edition, which breaks my heart. Sending it to CGC. My personal opinion is, do not send your vintage cards to CGC. There's the only one reason you would do that is if you're going to keep it for yourself. And over time, CGC is going to grow in value, and your card's going to grow in value. So you're actually grading it faster and cheaper for the time being. But first and foremost, always send your vintage cards and your high value cards for PSA and Beckett. For me personally, I think me and Teutonic and Risen, we talk about this a lot. We are personally using, well, for me personally, I use CGC as something that here says that I use GMA for like quick flipping profits. That's exactly what I'm using this company for right now. And the good thing is too is like the people that are buying the cards for me and other people that are flipping them is that they're getting them on pennies on the dollar compared to a PSA card. And whenever CGC decides to finally be one of the big boys in the market, when the market decides they are, you bought those cards for pennies on the dollar, and then it's just an increase in value later on in time. So there's so many pros to doing CGC, and I'm never gonna say, like I said, don't send your vintage, but do what you want, guys. When it comes down to grading, do what feels good to you, do what's fun for you, do what makes sense to you. Don't let nobody tell you don't do something. Like even like GMA, like this guy, like he knows I used to use GMA as well. You can use them for quick flips. There's so many different ways to grade, and nobody has like the perfect way to do it except the way you want to do it.
So to reiterate what he's just saying, for quick flip purposes, meaning you have a card and you want to sell it as quickly as possible, and grading it will up the value of it. CGC
Yeah,
is
so
fast. It's a lot
yes,
faster
so-
than PSA or Beckett, where PSA is notorious for taking 6, 7, 8 months.
Now it is.
now it
Now
is,
it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
just because the market's so high. So like for right now, like I sent some stuff to CGC, and we'll talk a little bit later about some stuff we're doing. But it takes about a month, maybe a month and a half at the latest for bulk, and like he was saying, PSA is taking 6 months and over.
More. It's more for bulk.
Yeah. So you're waiting that long to maybe a card that you paid X amount of dollars for, and you're planning to sell it for X amount of dollars, instead of waiting 8 months to make $20 on that quick flip. You can send it to CGC, and maybe you not make $20, but you'll make 15 or $10. But in the quantity of flipping overs and overs and overs, you're gonna make more over time than sending it to PSA.
And to note real quick, time is of the essence. So if you're grading a card, maybe 6 months from now when you get it back from PSA, that card isn't as valuable. The hype is gone.
Or
So
the
you
other
want
way,
that
yeah.
card as
But it can go
back as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and it could go both ways too.
Yeah.
It could be 6 months from now, all of your, or not 6. It's right now you're in the 7 to 10 month plus range for
Okay,
bulk.
okay.
It's that bad. It's more than that for sure. Gira, if anyone follows on Instagram, TikTok, Gira Ninja, he's had a bulk submission there for 7 months.
Yeah,
now.
mine's been since July.
Yeah. So it's that long, but the time wise, it really is the approach though. Just to highlight, because we're a lot of that's on the flipping or making money off of grading these cards. If you are just investing or you want to send your collection in, you are a
Mhm.
collector.
Yep.
It's probably best to send to PSA
Yes.
just
That's
from
more
where,
me right there.
yeah, and it's just about the time, like what you're going to do with it. I have a lot of bulk going to PSA, and I plan on selling a handful of it because I want to not have to pay a lot of the exorbitant amount of money it is to grade 100, 200 cards. So I do want to sell those off eventually to pay for that. But if like you are in that long game of collecting and having fun with it, as well as being financially responsible with it, it's not a bad way to go either. So it just depends on your approach.
Yeah.
We talk through these all the time. Like,
and
yeah.
and that's why I say send your vintage to PSA, because even though it's going to take that many months, vintage is going to exceedingly grow more in
Yeah.
value. So you're waiting, like instead of just leaving your cards here sitting there, you can have it being graded in the process and growing in value at the same time. So that's why you would want to send it off over there instead of just letting it sit in your room. And then at the same time too, with PSA, you pay for your shipping, and that's it. You don't pay anything up front. You pay after it gets graded, but make sure you have your money when they ask for it, because you're sending in quite a bit of cards. And the other thing too is be very careful about the declared value, because with PSA, is it 100 or 200 on declared value for bulk?
So they changed it. When they changed, as of right now, the original economy grade, regular grade, unless you're a member
The
doing
value,
bulk,
though.
was I'm getting
Okay.
it was $20 to grade that. That was up to $499 of declared value, and bulk used to be only up to 100.
Mm-hmm.
With the change of suspending that regular, bulk was changed to up to $199 or 200 for grading.
Yeah.
But now the regular is only up to $1,000 and $50. So that's a big thing on trying to prevent the slowdown or to get rid of the backup at PSA. They have done these measures to make sure that they can catch up.
So like I have a question about that. Like, is it like that cap, is it like the declared value, if I send in like a bunch of cards that goes over that declared value, what happens? Like, does that mean like, do I get the card sent back ungraded, or are they saying like it's too high
is
to
what I was
grade?
leading to. So what happens is that what I was telling them. So declared value is very important. So like, let's say you send a card in, and at that moment in time, you feel that card's going to get a 9. If it was to come back, the declared value is after it's graded. And so that, let's say that card was going to be $100 whenever you get it back, but since it's gone so long and something happened where it increased in value, now it's worth $500,
Mhm.
$1,000, what they're gonna do is they're gonna email you, letting you know that, hey, this specific card is no longer in that specific declared value. It is now in this declared value, which is this price. So now you gotta pay this price for
Yeah.
that card. And
Oh
Bullshit.
wow.
Yep.
it's a good and a bad problem, because you need to make sure you're financially capable of making that commitment. But at the same time too, it's good because now your card's worth more. So I would pay an extra
Right.
$75 for that to get my card back. So
But like, isn't it like kind of? Can't they just send the card back if you can't pay that declared value and
they
like leave
already
it
graded it.
ungraded?
They
They
already
already
Right,
graded
but
graded
then
it.
can't they just cut the thing open and then like
Nope.
I-
send it back to you?
You're paying for the process and the service and the
So
product
what
that they
happens if
provided you.
like what happens if they
They keep
like
'em.
if you can't pay the
So
declared value?
if automatically you are not able to pay to pay it right, and then I know that they give you a 5% increase in what your in total cost of what you're supposed to pay on your payment, and then after that they're just going to keep your cards until you're ready to pay. And I haven't gotten into that situation of hearing anybody that hasn't got their cards back, so I don't know what happens afterwards if
And
they
like
file like
how
a
long?
credit report
Yeah.
on you or something like that. So I that's something to know, and I'll look into that to see how long they'll wait for you to make a payment for it, and to see what they would do. But I don't see them giving your cards back.
Yeah, because like I mean, I have some cards here that like if they're graded, I feel like they would do good, but like their declared value or whatever, I think would be very high for what they're gonna ask me to pay. And so then like I don't know, that's
So
just grading to me
so
like it just seems like an entirely scary kind of process
and
to
that's
go
why
Yep.
through
Yep.
there's
when you're like
middleman
just
services and
starting
stuff like
off.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's why
Yeah.
there's middleman services and people like us around in the community to help with that, because it is very scary. And people like, when I first got into Grady, I was like, I didn't want to send cards because, one, I was afraid of losing my cards in the mail. I was afraid of when it gets graded. Like, I didn't even know about this declared value until after I sent it. Like, I just sent it like a full and didn't even know. So it is very scary. So that's why, a lot of us here have discords that you can go and hang out and ask these questions. And some of us are like, just like GPAs are getting new to grading. You want to make sure you do your research before anything else, because you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation, nor do any of us want to see you in that type of position.
Yeah, I personally have never graded, and it is daunting, like GPA is saying, especially when you're filling out the whole form on PSA. Like I didn't understand anything on that form. Like, what does any of this mean? You have to watch YouTube tutorials. But the great thing is there's third-party graders.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you want to mention your guy Eli or you personally.
Yeah. So plug. So I've been doing TikTok for a while, and my main thing is about investing and grading. And a lot of people have asked me like, "Hey, will you grade cards? Will you grade my cards?" And I've said no multiple times. And fortunately enough, we have a gentleman in my Discord who is like, he's a moderator who I trust very well. What's up, man? I trust very well, and so he's decided to take on the responsibility of doing PSA middleman services. We're still getting pricing. We're negotiating with PSA to see if we can get the costs lower. And pretty much what you do is you will send him the cards. He will input all the information, ship it out to PSA, and then ship it back to you when it's done. You just pay an extra little fee for him doing all that work and helping you through the process. And it's really good because you are able to understand more how the process works, and to the where maybe you start doing it yourself and saving yourself on that fee. And on top of that, I'm actually going to be doing a CGC middleman service myself, and all of this is going to be in our Discord, and we'll plug this a little bit later. But middleman service, there's others out there if you don't want to use us. There's like graded gems, there's a Larkins or something like that.
Yeah, Lutkins
Lutkins, they
collectibles.
do that too. So ours is specifically just for people in our Discord. So if you join our Discord, we will be able to help you, as well as help you understand which cards to grade if you're looking like investment standpoint.
And what's good about going through you is we know you. These other companies, we might not know them personally.
That's what
You
Autumn
are
said.
on TikTok every day. We know your face. We know your personality. You communicate with everyone. Like you're a
Yeah,
known
and
person.
my address is in one of my TikToks, so you can always find me if I take your cards. So you got to look for the video though, but check every video and like every video while you're there.
But yeah, the main reason why I would go through a third party is just because it would be cheaper for me. You when because if
Yeah,
they're
'cause
if
you
they're
also gotta
sending
buy a
cards if they're sending cards in bulk, I'm
you
not
have to pay for
sending bulk.
service.
Yeah, the middleman has like a membership with PSA or whatever grading company, so and they send a lot of cards at the same time, so they're getting
Mhm.
discounts.
Yeah, and then like somebody was just asking, what if I just want to send one card in? So we will have so what happens is we send in bulk, which is the cheapest way to do it. So we put your cards in with other people that have sent it. Like so for example, we just decided to do this yesterday and we already had 375 cards submitted to go to PSA.
Wow.
So in one day, like we had quite a few people saying, "Hey, let's go." So if you just want to send a couple cards in, we put your cards in with them, send it all together. PSA sends it back in the same condition, in the same order. So that's how we know which cards are yours, and then we just ship it back to you after you pay. So
I was gonna say because like some cards that I have like are like I'm trying to complete all the gold cards, like the huge
yeah,
master set, but I'm not planning to grade every single one of those guys because I know for a fact that none of them are gonna be like all tens or whatever. But like I have like a shiny star or Champion's Path, like Charizard's, the Rainbow Rare, and the shiny card, and then the Hidden Fates one, and then like some personal ones. I want to grade like a full art Bolton and all that, just to have kind of have like a favorite Pokemon slab. Obviously, everyone should probably
yeah,
have that eventually. So I'm like doing the bulk option would be pretty beneficial for people like me
yeah.
who don't really know too much about grading.
And it's not all about the
And
money
yeah,
either. Like you said, grading cards that you love is really cool. Like I'm grading cards not just for value, but like I have a Bulbasaur common that's not base. It's just a really cool art form that I'm just slabbing up because I want to keep it forever type of thing. So there's different. Like I said, there's no wrong way to grading. Just make sure you do the right information because I don't want you losing your cards or paying the wrong prices or things like that. So just make sure you can do a little bit of research on it.
And the Pokemon community is pretty great. So
Very
if
helpful.
you have questions, man, just ask people. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised.
And then I put a quick tidbit in on like, so these are Ancient Origins Ampharos. I love Ampharos. In modern sets, some of these nines, if you just really want to have that a card that's near mint, looks great, collectible, like what this mega one, I bought this for $32 after fees on eBay, so it was like $30. So it was a really, if you grade your own card in bulk, it would be cheaper than that. But just if you want to pick up some favorite cards, you can really go about it just for a collect. And this is from a complete
Mhm.
collection perspective. But just get some really affordable, great artwork cards that will, at least to the worst case, hold their value in what you grab, just to have for your collection, which is fun. So that's what I've done with some
Yeah.
cards that might get a little more pricey.
Yeah, you could buy graded cards off like eBay and stuff like that. Make sure to check the seller report, like their
Mhm.
reviews and stuff before you buy. But like for example, just like him, I bought, for example, I have a Reds Challenge PSA 10 Japanese that I bought for $40. Goes for $125 now. They increase in value and you can find some really cheap cards and you know what grade you're getting instead of taking the guess of sending it in and maybe not getting that grade that you
Yeah.
wanted. So
Yeah.
it's I know Manny's that bought a lot of graded cards off the just already graded, right?
Yeah, I've never graded any cards personally. I bought a lot off either eBay. Have I bought any off Macari? I bought some off Macari as well, but it is expensive, man.
Mhm.
Buying PSA 10s is expensive. So like a lot of people, their strategy is buy raw and get graded, and they get the 10s, and like they know what they're looking at when they look at raw cards. They know ahead of time. Okay, I really think this is gonna get a 10, if not 9 maybe. And people make a lot of money just flipping raw cards into graded cards. There you go, Eli. He's one of those people.
It's a service in itself.
Mhm.
Taking raw cards and grading them and then selling them to other people. Like that's a service. Not everyone wants to be able to do that, or has time to do it, or cares about it, or pays close enough attention to
Mhm.
centering or whatever certain things, or wants to take the risk.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, you can totally, essentially, as a service, buy collections and cards and grade them, and then sell them.
You said your cards at CGC today, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, packaged them up, sent 63, I think was the final total.
Nice.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited to see how it goes. Should be about a month, they said. Maybe a little bit more, which is fine. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm interested to see if I can get those back, sell the ones that I don't want to keep, and then do that again. Buy some
Yeah.
more cards, grade them, sell the ones I want to keep. Because PSA. The conversation we were having the other day was like
Mhm.
PSA or CGC, and so CGC, I'll get a little bit less money for the cards when they come back technically, um, potentially. Um, but it only takes a month
Yeah, you
versus
can
9
flip them a lot
months,
faster.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
9 months is ridiculous.
and it's a great
Yeah.
way to fund your collection, guys. I told these guys before, I started with $1,500. I'm up to like in value of cards probably like close to $40,000 in a collection if I wanted to keep all my cards. So you can start off with a couple cards and flip raw until you get higher, where you're able to grade, or maybe you want to grade with this with the service, where you can start taking that, you know, $2, $3, $5 card, turn it into $40, and just keep doing that overs and overs until you can buy those bad boys that you really want to keep in your collection.
Man, I need to get into
Totally
that.
agree.
I,
That's like-
I've literally all my collection. I haven't $1,500, and I haven't put any more into my whole collection.
Wow. I have 9,000 cards, maybe more, and they're just sitting in my closet.
Hey, come over here,
That
man.
entire thing behind.
Send them the grade. Like, so that's what I did. I've been waiting too and trying to grade them, and just held
Yeah.
off because PSA is going to take so long. I was just like frustrated with it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, Manny, you have a lot of vintage cards, don't you?
A lot of vintage.
Yeah,
He's
you
got
can
Yes.
send-
he's got
you
full
can-
EX sets.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
send those to PSA, have them sit there, and then whenever they decide to be done, pay them, and then there you go. Instead of just sitting in like a box, you know.
I'm so bad at selling though, because I've been collecting since I was a little kid, you know, and I guess in my heart, I just don't want to let anything go.
Yeah.
But
That's the
That's
hard
the
thing.
tough
But
part.
Yeah, you
That's,
got to find the stuff you can let go. Because if you
yeah.
can't let it go, then you're not going to make any money, which
yeah,
is
I'm broke. Yeah.
fine. Which is totally fine. But it's a collection that's not like selling.
I would say the one thing too, I think a lot of people, they have that. I think we all have it, of like that seller's remorse of once you sell something and you like, man, why did I sell that?
Ah.
But I think a lot of us don't understand that other than like vintage, and even vintage alone, there's still a lot of cards out there that people are still selling. You can always get them back. When you're looking to flip, modern's very good to flip, because you can always find those cards overs and overs and overs again to just grade, flip, grade,
Mhm.
flip. The vintage is what you want to keep. That,
Right.
because a lot of those cards, especially in like starting, like I have a Blastoise here. If this Blastoise was like a 8, 9, or 10, I'll be very like, okay, I don't want to sell this. As a 5, I might sell it because I know I can go find another one for less than what I'm going to sell this one for, and just keep until I can get it up. Like, so one thing I do is like, I get a 5, I sell it, I buy another card, grade it, and maybe it comes back a 7. Okay, I got a 7, sell it, grade it, and then try to get as close to that 10 without using my own money as I get there.
Yeah, so like that's my plan. One of the reasons I went with CGC for specifically modern cards too is I want a 10 of X card, whatever card,
Mhm.
right? I'm looking for a 10, maybe 1 or 2 10s, right? Of whatever card we're hunting for, right? And so what I can do is I either have to I buy 10, 20 copies of that, and then I have to go send those to PSA, and hopefully, I get a couple back that are 10s. But that process right now, like we talked about before, would take 9+ months, right? Unless I'm going to pay a premium. So then I would
High
eat
premium.
into the cost of my card, right? Which is okay to, in my opinion, it's okay to do if your card is, over 300 or something, right? 200-300, then you're okay there. But if you're not, then you're looking at a long turnaround. And so what I can do with CGC is exactly what you just said. I can go buy 10, 20 cards. I get those. I can go ship them out to CGC next month, get them back in a month and a half or something, see what the grades are, sell the low ones. And if any of them are 10 or 9.5, keep those, and then ship those off to, if I want to, ship them off to PSA or
Mhm.
BGS.
Get them regraded. Yeah.
Yeah, if I want to. But yeah.
Question in the chat. So, like, somebody's asking, I have a Delta species Charizard with a small crease in the corner. Definitely not a 10. Do you recommend me sending? I'll let you guys answer, but I will want to say I hate you as a general person that's trying to find that card. But y'all can take that if y'all like.
First, I need to Google what Delta species Charizard is.
I can do you. It's
Do
like
it.
it's like my
Hey,
ultimate,
Delta species,
ultimate
let's
chase
go.
card right now. I really
Oh, I see. He's electric.
It's say,
in the
do
same
it.
set. It's in the
Do it,
same
do it,
set
do it.
as yours,
With-
like the
Tonic probably
EXs
has-
that you have. Like, yeah, that's like all those. It's like that type of Charizard, I think.
Yeah, so with anything that has, so it's a Charizard, it's vintage, it's also Delta species really loved. It's worth grading. No matter what, you'll be able to sell it. Now, would you want to express? Maybe you throw that in a bulk or something, and you don't want to express it. That's Crystal Guardians, but that's still sweet. But what really, really will hurt a score on a card, just so you know your expectations.
Well, we don't know which one they picked. It might be one or the other because they're both Delta species.
What it I just lost my train of thought now. If you have just for your expectations with grading a card, the things that will hurt it the most is anytime you have a crease or an indentation on the front of the card, because anything that has an actual puncture, or even if it's not like a slice in the card, it just looks like you took your fingernail and pressed it in and it's actually like a imprint. Those factors can cut you down to a 5 or 6 like that. It's really fast. So just the expectations for grading is that you will not have that will cut points off right off the bat, and then you can go down even lower. But it's just to set your expectations right. If you have a Delta species Charizard, it's going to be worth grading because there's not many people will want. It's a market that's there's so
sought
many
after.
Very smart. And that's one of the things too. And then, like you said, sending in bulk, you wouldn't be able to send in bulk with that card just because the card
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know what the value is.
It's too expensive.
That card is alone, like in a very rough condition, is probably like a $2,000 card still.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a
Holy
very
crap.
good card.
I knew it was expensive.
It's
but-
the gold star one with the black Charizard. That's the one we're looking at.
Oh, you're talking about
If-
blacks. Oh, the
Yeah.
the Gold Star.
If that's the one that
Great.
He
Oh
is.
my God, grade that.
Yeah.
Grade that. Yeah,
that is literally my chase card for life. But it is very worth it. Now you would have to pick a higher PSA level just because of the declared value. So what I would do is recommend you go to eBay and see if you can find your card for sold listings and try to find it graded and see if you can see what that graded card is going for and compared to what yours is looking raw. So like if yours has an indentation, find one with the indentation to see what, oh wow, it might get this grade and I can sell it for this much. And if you're just looking at maybe not money wise, you just want to grade it, it's always fun to just grade cards that you love that you just want to keep in personal collection too.
That's a great tip. Like I like to do that too. I'll just eBay PSA 1 Charizard. What does that look like? How damaged is that? What does a 1 look like, or 2 or 3 or 4? And it gives me a good idea what my card would get. So good tip.
Yeah, it definitely, for especially low pop graded cards, finding those low grades will be very tough to find photos of. So either just use an example, or I just go to people that can give you a range of answers, but just so you know the pricing around that. But it gets a little tough because these low, if that gold star is a 1, it might be the only one, or like there's like 5 of them. That also has a different value that's tough to declare. So
it's something to kind of bring up here is that some people, especially very sought after cards, specifically Charizards, right? And that card we're looking at is a very sought after card. People want weird gradings because some people actually will collect all of the different levels, all of the different grades. So 1 through 10 or whatever there is, right? And so you can sometimes, if you are literally the only, 2 or something, actually get, pricing for 5 or 6 grade just because somebody really wants that for their collection, right? And there's only 1 of them or 2 of them, right? Now that is a very kind of strange, weird thing.
Is that
Don't
real?
Consider that, but just know that is a real thing that can happen.
He just printed that.
Oh, he printed it. I was like, wait, what?
It's small. It's super small.
Well, you can.
I was like, no,
It's from my old
I'm like, did this
vintage.
guy just pull this out?
It's from my old binder that I found the other day. Me and my brother used to cut up like the little rare Pokemon cards from the magazines.
He used to print them out and sell them to kids.
And
like,
we would,
oh,
like-
$20, I got you.
And we would have like them in our binder. See, like on the back, it's like some random magazine.
I thought
thing.
I couldn't tell it was that small.
That's cool.
So yeah, I just wanted. I was like, oh, I guess I have it. Kind
Somebody's asking. So somebody says that they have a Cosmic Eclipse Charizard Braxton. I don't know if that's how you say it right. Rainbow Braxton. Rainbow Rare. Do you think the price would go up in value? And I think this is also a really good point when it comes to grading. For me personally, there is key things that I'm looking for when it comes to cards and increasing in value, which where you talk about your ROI, like I buy it for this much and I'm going to invest in so long that is maybe it's going to hit this price point. Mainly for me, it has to be a chase card. Automatically has to be a chase card. So you Hidden Fates, has a lot of chase cards. So has to be a chase card. Can be like you can't just find it off the street. It has to be a very popular Pokemon. For example, Pikachu, Charizard, all these other guys, Greninja, things like that. And then as well as if it's out of print. Right now we're in a weird market right now that even if it's not out of print, people are paying ridiculous prices. Be very careful when we're doing this right now because most likely, just like in the stock market, we're doing the up and down. We're on an up right now. There's gonna be a little dip, and of course we'll go back up over time. But I think I mean I don't know if it was Manny that bought case or somebody bought cases here at a premium or bought cards at a premium. You want to be
Yep.
very careful. It is good to buy them now, because we all get that like if I don't get it now, I'm not gonna get it later. You will find them later. It has to be a very very like a first edition Stylus Charizard, not to find later. Their card will be there later. Always try to haggle prices if you can, very respectfully. I would say don't message me and say $5 like I've gotten before for a $500 card. But don't just waste all your money on one or two cards. You want to be smart about it, and that's just my criteria when I look for cards. I don't know if you guys have different ones when you're trying to see how the
See,
values.
like I want to say, like for that particular card though, Rainbow Rares have only been featured in sets from Sun and Moon base set onwards. And to be fair, Cosmic Eclipse is kind of out of print. I say that because there's a reprint coming very soon. Actually, I think it should be out like right now or towards the end of December, which we are
No,
already there. But like,
Cosmic's later. It's like
oh,
March.
is it? Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Then
It's
someone said
coming
We
soon.
don't.
It's coming
It's not.
soon.
We don't have a confirmed date for Cosmic. What's
Yeah.
happening right now is Unified Minds. And there's a little
Unbroken
more.
Bonds.
Yeah,
and,
that Broken Bonds happened. Unified's
yeah.
happening right now. But
But like, I
Cosmic will
mean,
come.
even already Cosmic is like a year old, and to find products like that is hard enough. Then like more and more people are scalping things like especially Cosmic. Like it's a set where even if you get green codes, you still get like character cards. It's kind of like
Mhm.
Vivid Voltage. So like the collectability of Cosmic is gonna be very, very good in the long run. But
Oh yeah.
that card in particular is like a one out of like however many cards there are in the set. I think there's like 230 or something like that.
Just plus secret rares.
Yeah, exactly. So like
It's a
that one
huge set.
card out of that entire set is very hard to pull. So there aren't really, I know I'm saying this like there aren't really too much. There could be so much out there. We don't know. PSA is kind of blocked up. But I mean,
Very.
in that card particular, I feel like that's going to be a good card to grade and then hold on to for the long run. Because again, like I said, Rainbow Rares are just only featured in the Sun and Moon era. Like XY sets don't have Rainbow Rares or gold cards, like full gold cards. So that's a good take on that, I guess. So.
Yeah. I think the main thing, it's modern. We just don't know. You don't know how much they're going to print. You don't know until things are out of print. And we're starting to see the spikes now in a lot of XY sets. Anything like Roaring Skies, which was printed into oblivion, for that time. Now it may not be. It's not like unless you're Evolutions, but Roaring Skies, Ancient Origins, Primal Clash, all those boxes you could get for 120, 30, 3, 4, 5 months ago are now in the 200 to 300 range or even more, depending on the sets. So we don't really know until things get out of print and then the cards adjust to it. But it is, again, rainbows are popular and they're making them nice. I think the Sword and Shield ones look even better personally. That's just
definitely. They just look so much better. 100%.
Yeah. So the thing is just to be careful and go collect with what you want. And then just what's popular if you're thinking about value and what you're trying to invest in. But I think it all starts with what you want to grade and then going from there.
My guess is you could probably bulk grade that card, which is if you can.
A lot
why
of
not? It's like $8 to $10. Even if you paid a middle, like you did these middleman services we talked about before, it's like $14 and like. I guess if that's you're trying to just make money off that card and you don't like that card, maybe there's an issue there. But really it's not too much to get it graded.
Yeah.
So why not at this point?
Yeah. At the end of the day, do your numbers. I always preach that you got to do your numbers, guys. Like, a lot of people that are in our Discord, they're like, "Oh, should we grade this? Should we grade this?" And the first thing I tell them is like, "What's it going for on eBay?" So I'll give you like one thing that I do like almost every day is I go to eBay, I type in Pokemon PSA cards, and I press search, and I go to sold listings. I'm looking to see what's hot, and I'll put like a price in there. I'll put like 150 to like $150, and I'm seeing what's selling. And then once I see a continuous pattern of what's selling, I go see what I can buy that card for raw. And if I can buy that card for 4, 5, 15 bucks, and I can grade it for X amount of dollars, depending on how fast I want to get it back, and I can make money off of it, that's literally all you do when it comes to flipping cards. That's it. Opening packs is not the smartest thing to do, but it's more than welcome to do it. But buying the cards raw, doing your numbers, that's the difference between gambling and investing. So just my
Opening
personal
packs
opinion.
is for funsies.
Funsies, but you can when you pull a card and pull a $500 card, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of because I open a lot of packs for content and because it's fun and just what I do. But a lot of it, I do have a huge stack. I've sent a bunch of cards to grade, and I plan on selling them just so I'm not opening packs to make money. I'm opening pack. I'm doing the full process to get the most value out of cards that come from those, so I can just keep putting money into the hobby that I love to do. So it's so never be opening packs to make money or grade the card and make money. You see some like very silly get rich quick people that are trying to say like, oh, well, if you open all these packs and grade
What are you
them,
talking about?
no, that's stupid. Like you may get lucky and it may work out for you, but you want to, like, as someone who's doing it in some cases just to pay for my hobby for what I'm doing with it, it's just a good way to get as much value out of the fun that you're having with it is how I look at it.
Yeah, like a quick search, that rainbow red Charizard Braxton is going for almost 300 at a 9 and 400 plus at a 10.
What
It's
says that from?
all is selling at like
Cosmic.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just great.
And then in the chat,
Charizard.
in the chat,
Charizard.
Hector and then that's another thing too. Like all Charizards, like I kid you not, I'm not gonna tell you which one because I want your chat to do a little bit of work on this. But there's a $3 Charizard out there that you can pay $3 for it, and I've been flipping that card so much that I flip it for $75 to $150, and I've been doing it consistently.
Through CGC?
No, PSA. I'll do it through PSA. I bulk grade it, and I've sent some a long time ago. Got them back. I even sent it. Oh, you know what? I have sent some to CC, and I'm waiting to get them back, and they go for $75. The nines and tens.
Is it Charizard V?
I ain't saying nothing. They need to do some work. But real quick, Hector does bring up a really good point, which I'm pretty sure we all know about this. But thank you for reminding us. Is that auctions on eBay are a very good thing. People they don't have enough following on the auctions, so cards go for really cheap sometimes, and you can get some really good already graded PSA cards or raw cards, and you can get them at the auctions. They even have where you can send them an offer so they can end their auction, maybe send them a little bit more than what they're asking for.
I like the offer more.
Yeah, I always do, and then I never do buy nows. I always do offers or auctions.
Auctions, that I think that's harder to find a good deal on an auction, especially if there's a bunch of people bidding. That's very hard. But when someone has an offer, was it offer?
Best offer.
Best offer option. I love those. You just give them a number. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Some people will take it, and I'll find a card like the evolution set last month. I was trying to complete a bunch of cards I was missing. I was searching for that card from a bunch of different sellers, and I was sending them all offers. One of them's gonna say yes.
You got 25 cards that day, the same day.
Yeah, and the other thing too with the auctions, you press ending soon. Because you're going to go to auctions, and if you don't do that, you're going to see all these auctions, you're going to be liking and following all of them, and most likely they're going to go up in price like a crazy. So put ending soon, because you're going to see like, okay, this is still within my price range that I want to pay for this card, and I can send them an offer or I can bid and see it something. I saw like my blast was I saw a PSA 9 go for $400 yesterday through an auction, and I just missed it. I was doing something, I had watched it too, and that card's way more than $400. For example, my 5 is like $250, and so that was whoever got that deal was really lucky.
Dang,
Yeah.
easy
Yeah, I
$400
agree with
spent right there.
Manny for sure. Is if somebody has offer on eBay, shoot them an offer. That means they probably are at least going to take $5 cheaper than whatever they have listed.
Ryan,
Unless
that was
their
a
item
great
is
point, though.
$5.
Great point. I didn't even
and
think
it's
about
free.
that, Ryan. When if you're sending a bunch of offers, if they accept it,
Yeah, you're stuck with it.
you're stuck
Oh,
with
yeah.
it.
That's why I said
sure
I
you have
didn't
the
mean to
money.
cut you off there, but like
No, it's like I
do,
totally
do
forgot
be
about
careful
that.
like sending
Yes.
a lot
Be
of
careful.
offers on the same card if
I
you
missed
only
that.
want one of those cards.
Yeah, because once you accept it, now they can cancel it. But me personally, as an eBay seller for X amount, I've had people say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to buy this. How did you not mean to buy this?" No, and so me being a nice guy,
That would be me.
a couple of times I've said, you know what, I'll go ahead and cancel it. But at the end of the day, I don't have any obligations not to cancel it, and
Mhm.
I'll send
Yeah.
it to eBay, and it's gonna look really bad on you. Either one, I get my money, or two, you're gonna have eBay repercussions. So you don't want that to happen.
They can just mail it back to you because you can return things even if you
Yeah.
don't accept
Don't-
returns.
You don't want to say that.
So like
here,
that's what
though.
I have told a person because
God.
I messed up one time and I bought a lot of 5 of this card, but it was the jumbo card, and I
Yeah.
did not realize it
Yeah.
until after I sold it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is not great. I do
Little-
not want the jumbo of this card," and so I had to message him and be like, "Hey, look, like, accidentally bought this. Super sorry.
Same thing happened to me with a
secret.
proxy
Please
card.
return me. Like,
Oh,
return
yeah.
this."
But that's a different story, though. If you're buying proxy cards and you get it and it's not your card, you send that back, and report them. Because
It's
there's
not
a
a
lot.
different story. It's not a different story. I accidentally bought no, it said proxy, I guess, in the description, and I didn't see that.
Oh, that's your
so,
fault.
yeah. Well, it's his fault. It's Ryan's fault. He bought jumbo cards. Okay.
No, I was gonna say
It is my fault. I'm not saying it's not.
Little kept secret jumbo cards are actually worth some really good money graded. It just takes
They are.
so long to get them back.
It's
they're
also
always
cool
sell.
because
You
it's
can grade
like this
jumbo
big.
cards?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you can.
It's
It's huge.
expensive to grade
It's
them too.
expensive. It's like
Really? How much is it like for one at least?
I think it's
Is
like,
it-
isn't it like $100, $75? Like it's pretty.
no,
No.
What?
no,
Wait,
but
I didn't know you can grade jumbo cards.
it
Wait, we need
obviously
to find
depends
like
on
a
the value
jumbo.
too. But
Wait,
It's
so
like-
that like jumbo Rayquaza card that I
Yeah.
have in the sealed
Yes,
box?
yeah.
you
Like,
can.
Here,
Yeah.
I'll pull it up right now.
what,
I got
dude?
you.
it's
That's so
it's
sick.
30 on top of the grade, I think. So I
Third-
think it's your grading fee plus 30, I want
Ooh.
to say, or it's like 50, I forget. But it's
Oh.
like an extra $35.
I want to hear what like the
Okay,
declared values are.
so
for
on
these
here,
things.
if you do jumbos, as of right now, if you do 20 card minimum, they're $40 each.
Oh my God.
And then after that, like I said, it was almost 100. The regular express for like one card is $80, and express is 105. So like I told you, it's pretty
For
up
an
there.
express.
that's
But that's
So yeah,
express.
Who's sending 20
Imagine-
jumbo
oh,
cards?
Imagine a jumbo.
I mean, if you're
shiny
gonna get one, you
Rayquaza.
might as well get 20
Yeah,
because you got to try to get
I
a
like
10.
them, and they go for some pretty good money. They go for like 100
Does
as
anyone
graded
know like
cards.
what the
Wow.
most expensive jumbo card is?
I just started looking into it.
It's got to be one.
Obviously, a
there's-
Charizard, a
Charizard.
Rayquaza. I've looked at
Because-
Rayquaza,
I think the
the
Rayquaza
shiny
are
from
from
Hidden
Rayquaza.
Phase.
Do I have my?
I have it still sealed. I'm very glad that I still have that box.
There's some really cool Charizard ones. I don't know where my stack of them are, but there's like
It's
a
cool. I didn't.
Charizard
I didn't
breaks
know
it.
that.
They
I
never
want you to
don't
like bring
sell.
out like, "Oop, here's
Yeah.
my 87.
I've sold all
jumbo
my jumbo
cards."
cards. They always sell.
But the other
Yeah.
thing to think about grading those, just I have no experience grading them, but they don't. It's just like any promo; they don't come clean out of the box. So a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you get a grade next to it, but at the same time, I don't think people. Yeah, there will be a premium for a 10, but they come
Always.
edge-weared a lot. I always, when I open jumbo boxes, when I see a nice one, I'll be like, "Oh, that's unusual. It actually looks good." So that's not that many people grade them, but I'd be careful.
Yeah,
just
it's
if
a
you-
niche. It's a very niche market too. So like you can,
Yeah.
which
It's
is
good
not a
display
bad thing.
piece.
It's not a bad thing because that means you can be the jumbo graded guy for everybody. So
Jumbo
Um,
king or queen.
yeah,
You can own a market.
yeah. And then somebody, I think the last question here that we see is can I get PSA cards for less than $15? I don't know if they mean like just buying them or grading them. If it's grading, you can grade it for less than 15. If you're buying, you can
Mhm.
find it. It's just very hard. And they're not going to be the greatest cards, but you might find something you like.
Yeah, I see them go. What
I think 15 is about it, right?
the way you can get really really cheap ones is either very random cards that aren't graded as well, like in the 8 or 9. But if you get a modern card that is an 8 or lower, and it's not a hit like a chase card, that's when you get into that undergrading value. Because essentially, if you have that card going for under let's say $15, you're losing money. On whoever got that card is losing money because they had to grade it and materials, shipping, everything. So it's you don't find it often because usually they won't make the decision to grade those and then sell them. But I'd say modern 8 or under, that's not a chase card.
There's a lot of GMA cards that can get for under $15 if you want to open it, crack it, and send it to PSA yourself. But then you might as well just buy the card raw and send it.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah.
Do you like buying
question-
other companies' graded cards
pre-grade.
personally? Because I at least get a range. I get an idea of a range that card is gonna be graded in potentially. Obviously, this is not a guaranteed thing. By no means I'm taking a risk doing that. Like I buy GMAs sometimes, but I kind of like it sometimes more than buying raw cards because I at least know that it's within a range and I don't have to
It's not like garbage.
get 1 billion pictures of it and like, can you please tilt it to the right because your glare is not showing the
because you can show this is not a this is a regular card. It's not damaged, but you can show a card that has whitening and put it at the right angle that makes it look like it's not. It's really easy to do.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Even creases and stuff. Like I've gotten cards to me and it's like it's almost bent in half. I'm like, how in the world
did I miss that?
One. Yeah, they sent me like I bought a lot and like all the hollows that are in it. There was a hollow Gengar, hollow Gyarados, all these hollows that I was buying it for. It was a first edition Scizor from Neo set. All that was in there, and when I take them out of the thing, all of them have a crease going all across it on every single one of them. And that doesn't show in the picture. And I made the mistake of rating the guy. It was on Macari rating the guy because I was just like, oh, he's cool, rate it real quick. After I rated, I can't send it back, so that was on me. That part was my fault. His fault for not taking the right pictures, letting me know about how they were. So, but be very careful, guys.